Hello, everyone. This is Evelyn Turan. It is 2023-07-15. Um, Again, I wanted to talk about labor trafficking. Now, here's the situation. When you go to the labor board, they deny help to you. When you go to labor relations, they deny help to you. When you go to your union, they deny help to you. Lawyers won't represent you. They all say that it's a labor dispute, but it is not a labor dispute. When a company steals money from you and takes away your rate of pay and cuts your rate of pay in half, um, it's illegal. There's no laws that allow this. We're a Commonwealth country. You're not allowed to take away from the workers. Now, even if a new company comes and takes over, the old company has to pay out and the new company has to pick up the cost. It's right in labor laws, as well as Criminal Code of Canada, which would fall under federal fraud. It's right at the back of the Criminal Code of Canada book, Black's Law Dictionary. Go right to the back and look up federal fraud. So it turns out, like, if you're a police officer, I guess they understand the laws a little bit better than me and you. So a police officer would turn around and charge them for indentured servitude, federal fraud, workplace theft, human trafficking, labor trafficking. And there's a wheel that if you fall under any of the 12 symptoms of the stuff, well, then you're labor trafficked. I fall under 8 out of 12. Sexual assault and harassment in the workplace. If you're being harassed to engage in sex in your workplace or else you're fired, that is human trafficking and it's threatening you. If they're forcing you to do jobs that you're not required to do and does not fall under your ROM or what you were hired to do, that's human trafficking. Taking away your paychecks, that's human trafficking. Cutting back your pay, that's human trafficking. Suspending you for not doing anything wrong, suspending you and firing you for doing your job right. And here's the kicker with the oil sands. They're all in bed together with the unions, the companies, the labor board, human rights, labor relations, Alberta Ombudsman. I went to a law firm in Fort McMurray as well as town council in Fort McMurray. The guy was mayor at the time. And I sat in his office and said, I need help. I want my money. And they turned around and said, well, we can't help you because it's a conflict of interest. We have to protect the people and the companies. Well, I was a renter and I was a resident of Fort McMurray and I was refused to get help. Nobody would help me. The welfare office helped me and helped me get back to work and educated me in a few courses. Unemployment insurance helped me and told me what my legal rights are, but nobody else would help me. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't study labor relations. I don't study criminal law. I study cooking. And I started studying Criminal Code of Canada. Oh my God, I must fall under at least 10 pages of charges that these people should have been charged with by now. WCB protected me. They ended up doing an internal investigation, like an undercover investigation in the oil sands for the company I was working for. Some of the managers lied about me. I said I wasn't doing my job and I had food safe violations, which were not violations. I didn't violate any food safe violations under HACCP law because I have a HACCP Gold Seal international license. I know my HACCP, which is food safety. So they made up stupid excuses that I had food safety violations that were not valid food safe violations. Human rights went and took the side of the company, fished me into accepting $30,000 when the company is into me for back pay and termination pay, $500,000 plus interest. They did a lot of psychological warfare and a lot of physical warfare, a lot of physical, Like, I would have to do 5 times the amount of jobs of anybody else. The people that were supposed to be doing the jobs stood around talking, wouldn't do their jobs, they were just lazy, and I got stuck doing the extra jobs. Then they would bounce me around from camp to hide me. Now I'm learning later, to keep me away from authorities so I wouldn't tell the truth or I wouldn't slip up, spilling my guts and telling the truth about what they were doing to me. Uh, they tortured me. I never, the only thing they didn't do was hang me upside down and beat me and physically rape me. But I was physically sexually assaulted, where men came up behind me in the back of the kitchen, would pull their penises right out of their pants and rub it against the back of my ass, sneak up behind me. Um, while I was panning up bacon or cooking in the back of the kitchen where there was no cameras. Those guys were from Somalia. The ones that kept coming on to me were guys from Sri Lanka and a couple of guys from England and a couple of guys from Newfoundland that were actually retired Canadian Armed Forces. So, I mean, I have all of their names. Our shop stewards were the worst towards women. Our shop stewards would hit on us when we would try to report sexual harassment in the kitchens. And then they would turn around and hit on us a little bit more and then stick up for the person that was sexually trying to control us, that if they couldn't control us sexually, we were not allowed to keep our jobs and they would make us homeless. I was threatened by a shop steward one day that said, "Evelyn, if you go through with this, you will never work again." And they made sure of it. It had nothing to do with the oil companies at the time, the sexual assault, but it goes across the oil company's desk and it's on their cameras. And I proved that part in court. They all knew about it the whole time. They lied, and they were caught in tribunal that they knew the whole time about the abuse and did nothing to stop it. And instead of getting rid of the people that were abusing me, they kept getting rid of me and suspending me with no pay. 14 times I was drug tested because I took Tylenol 3 for pain, because I had to do so much work for everybody else. And I had to tolerate the gossip about me and the rude comments, the sexual comments about me, and then the women that just couldn't shut up about my personal life. My personal life is none of their business at all. And for them to insinuate anything about my private life, they have no clue. I went out west to work. I have a son here in Ontario with grandchildren, and I could give a shit about the men out west. I would never date them because of the simple fact that I knew I would never stay. Once I'd retire, I'm leaving. I'm coming home to my family. Why would I stay? I spent thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars travel pay. I never got on any of my paychecks through my whole career, which is in the collective agreements. They kept saying they would change the rules as we went. Nothing in writing, but they would change the rules to make up excuses as to why they didn't owe us the money. Worst company I ever dealt with, worst union I've ever dealt with. And the union, here's the kicker, without even investigating anything, they would sign off on it and get the woman fired rather than actually investigating it and telling the truth and firing the person that was assaulting us. Their excuse to me, the newest president, was, well, he was a work permit. That's why you got fired and he didn't. And then the other excuse was, well, he came from a war-ridden country. Well, my parents came from a war-ridden country. What the hell does that got to do with raping and assaulting our women? With all due respect, my parents never did stuff like that. And they're right out of World War II and they were in prison camps in Germany. And they're German and Czech. So they didn't come to Canada and rape and sexually assault people. So why is it okay for other people to come into our country and start raping and sexually assaulting us? Like, what is wrong with you? And then our union that as Canadians stick up for them. What if it was their daughter? I wonder if they would stick up for their daughter or sell their daughter. I mean, their culture tells me they would sell their children to keep their jobs and get political status. I mean, that's what I saw. I don't know, but I truly believe that they need to get an internal police officer that is a forensic police officer to investigate that union much further, as well as Compass Group Canada and the oil companies, because what they did to me and what they're doing to other people is so wrong. It's labor trafficking at its best. And nobody wants to admit it. Nobody wants to take on the case. And here's the other kicker. No lawyers want to help you. Don't even think about getting a lawyer when you mention labor trafficking or human trafficking. They all turn a blind eye and nobody wants anything to do with it. They, instead of fixing the problem, they stick up for the problem. Trust me, you will see it. When you come across it, you won't know until you're involved in it. You would never understand it until it's happening to you. And it's a lot of years of torture and a lot of bad stuff that was done to me. And I personally think they all belong in jail. I would love to see convictions to the people that did this to me. But will I ever see that in my lifetime? I doubt it. And now, because of the way it is, I'm stuck being involved with them for the rest of my life with my private pension, money that they owe to me, everything. I have to be in touch with them for the rest of my life. You know how horrible that is? You try to leave a labor trafficking ring and you have to be involved with them for your income for the rest of your life. So you never, ever, ever, ever leave it. You get out of it. You may not physically be there, but mentally and financially, you're stuck with them for the rest of your life. So please investigate the companies you work for and the unions you work for before you join them. Because sometimes it's more easier to be hungry than it is to be involved with these monsters. I love you, Evelyn Sharan. Have a nice day. Trust me.